Imagine a married couple who can't agree on when Easter is, not because one forgot, but because they follow two completely different versions of Christianity. That happened to a 7th century English king and his wife, and the argument it caused helped reshape the future of an entire country. To understand how a married couple ended up with two Easters, we need to go back to 597. In 597 AD, Pope Gregory I sends a monk named Augustine, not the famous theologian Augustine of Hippo, but a different man, from Rome to convert the Anglo-Saxons. Gregory's motivation reportedly came from seeing Anglo-Saxon boys in Rome's slave market, told they were Angles. He quipped, "Non Angli sed angeli," not Angles, but angels. Augustine lands in Kent, the southeast corner of England, closest to the continent. The pagan king of Kent has a Christian wife from Gaul, a diplomatic opening. Augustine establishes Canterbury as the first bishopric, the seat of a bishop's authority, and it becomes the ecclesiastical center of Britain. But here's the problem. England is not one country. England in the 7th century is a patchwork of rival kingdoms, Kent, Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria, each with its own king, its own wars, its own alliances. There's no central authority to impose religion from the top down. Conversion happens kingdom by kingdom, ruler by ruler. When a king converts, his people follow. When that king dies, everything can unravel. And that's exactly what happens. In 627, King Edwin of Northumbria converts to Christianity after a vision. Northumbria turns Christian. But in 633, Edwin dies in battle. His successor reverts to paganism. Christianity in Northumbria collapses. 2 years later, King Oswald takes the throne and reestablishes Christianity, this time inviting monks from the Celtic tradition in Ireland and Scotland, not from Rome. Then, in 642, Oswald himself is killed by the pagan king of Mercia. The pattern repeats: convert, die in battle, successor reverts, new Christian king, reconverts. England isn't definitively Christian until the 1660s and 1670s. Nearly everything we know about this period comes from one man, the Venerable Bede, an 8th century monk who wrote the ecclesiastical history of the English people. Bede is our primary source, brilliant, careful, and honest enough to admire Celtic Christian figures like St. Aidan, even while disagreeing with them. Without Bede, this entire story would be lost, but Bede also reveals something surprising. By the mid-600s, paganism was fading. The real question was no longer whether England would be Christian, but which kind of Christian. Two rival Christian traditions now compete for England's soul. Celtic Christianity, developed in Ireland, Scotland, and parts of Britain, is decentralized, monastery-centered, and missionary-driven. Abbots hold more power than bishops. Its great centers are Iona, off Scotland's west coast, and Lindisfarne in Northumbria. Its key figure, St. Aidan. Roman Christianity is hierarchical, bishop-centered, and organized under papal authority. Dioceses, not monasteries, form the basic unit. Its center in England is Canterbury, connected directly to Rome. Its founding figure, Augustine of Canterbury. These aren't minor stylistic differences. They represent fundamentally different models of how to organize the church, where authority resides and who answers to whom, and their most visible disagreement: when to celebrate Easter. Easter is the most important date in the Christian calendar, the celebration of Christ's resurrection. Celtic and Roman traditions use different mathematical calculations to determine when it falls. The result is sometimes absurd. King Oswiu of Northumbria follows the Celtic calculation. His wife, raised in the Roman tradition of Kent, follows Rome's. Right? One Sunday, the king celebrates Easter. The following Sunday, his wife celebrates hers. 2 Easters in one royal household. This isn't a trivial calendar quirk. It signals a deeper rift about authority and belonging. If Christians can't agree on Easter, they can't worship together. Something has to give. In 664, King Oswiu convenes the Synod of Whitby, a synod being a formal assembly of church leaders to decide on doctrine or practice. Both sides present their case. The Celtic delegation argues from the tradition of St. Columba, the great Irish missionary who founded Iona. The Roman delegation argues that Peter, the apostle to whom Christ gave the keys to heaven, established Rome's authority. Peter's tradition trumps all others. Oswiu delivers his verdict. He reportedly says he doesn't want to anger the keeper of heaven's gates. He rules in favor of Rome. England will follow the Roman tradition, so Whitby chose Rome. But what did that mean for England's future? The decision was never just about a calendar. It was about which direction England would face. One path led west toward Ireland, Scotland, and decentralized monasticism. The other led southeast toward Rome, continental Europe, bishops, hierarchy, and the papacy. England chose the second path, and that choice carried consequences for centuries. By choosing Rome, England integrated into the continental European ecclesiastical and political order. Bishops replaced abbots as the primary church authorities. Dioceses replaced monasteries as the basic organizational unit. The Archbishop of Canterbury answered to the Pope. This connected England to the wider European world, to the Carolingian Empire, to continental learning, to the networks of power that would shape medieval Europe. It also set up tensions that would echo for centuries. English kings and popes would clash repeatedly over who held ultimate authority. Those conflicts trace a direct line back to the decision made at Whitby. The next time you encounter England's conversion as a simple story, missionaries arrive, pagans convert, done. Remember what it took, nearly a century of conversions and reversions, kings who accepted Christ and successors who abandoned him. Two legitimate Christian traditions competing for the same island, and a decision made not by a battle, but by an argument about a calendar, an argument that turned England toward Rome, toward hierarchy, toward continental Europe. The Synod of Whitby didn't just settle when to celebrate Easter. It determined which civilization England would belong to.